chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita mentions that people who are constantly active in earning material wealth, gain and power are the ones who are constantly engaged in corruption and sin and therefore live in a world of darkness. Good morning, one and all present here. Today I, Vansh of class 12D, student of STJOSEPH'S school, is here to speak on the topic of corruption-free India for a developed country. Friends, corruption is an unethical act which is performed by a person or group of people who are holding any power or position of authority for securing their personal benefits. It is a social issue which affects the economy of a country. This problem is a big obstacle in the path of development of our India. Corruption is like a problem, is like a poison which has been spread in the minds of wrong people. Today, corruption is one of the most important causes of the widespread inequalities in our society. And this problem has been in our society from the times immemorial. This problem is a very old social malady. For example, it is vital to note that Atharva Ved mentions people to refrain from corruption. Arthashastra by Kautilya mentions about 40 modus operandi in which corruption could be practiced by the people. Even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru mentions in his book, The Discovery of India, about the widespread corruption among the British rule in India. Today, the scope of public administration has very wide and each state has assumed itself the role of a welfare state and is continuously working for the welfare of its people, the all-round development of its individuals, and therefore the level of corruption has also risen. At independence, great statesman C. Rajgopalachari said that today the greatest enemy in front of our country is the PWD department because of the widespread corruption in that department at that period of time. But today, unfortunately, I have to say that every department is a PWD department. Today, corruption has crept into every fabric of our society, and even the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his speech on 15th August 2022, mentioned about 5 resolutions, and the very first resolution was about our developed India. But I have to say that we cannot be developed until this problem is tackled. Friends, the causes of corruption are many and even very complex. For example, the people have themselves accepted corruption and are inclining themselves towards the corruption. There is a lack of any proper strong forum which can raise voice against corruption. There is a lack of transparency in the system. Even the people, there is a lack of even a strong public forum. If we see today, then there is a lot of inflation in our society, and even the low salaries of the government have even compelled the government officials to incline themselves towards the inflation. Even there is a lack of strict laws in our society. If we see the past three decades, then the corruption cases, some of the most prominent corruption cases can be Waqf Board corruption case, 2G spectrum case, coal allocations case, Hawala scandal, fodder scam, Satyam scam, coal allocation scam, Commonwealth Games scam, and the money in all these cases is in lakhs and crores of rupees. And do you know why have I mentioned these cases? Because there is one thing common in all these cases. That is, the people involved in these cases have kept aside all their morals and ethics and integrity and have simply taken to the path of selfish, self-interest, corruption. However, in such an environment, a question arises in our mind: can this be ever eradicated? Friends, unfortunately, the answer is that it is a next to impossible thing. But there are several ways from which we can reduce it to a considerable extent. For example, we can have a very strict law. See, if we see China, if any person is found guilty of corruption, that person is simply hanged. If we see United States of America, if a person is found guilty, then he is simply imprisoned for 300 to 400 years. Then secondly, we need to have a transparency in our system. That, like recently we have seen that the proceedings of the Supreme Court are being streamed online. So this thing ensures the transparency in the system and also ensures the public accountability. Then the very important thing which we can have is that we as an individual need to listen to our heart, because deep down our heart we all know that corruption is not correct. What is more important is human values and integrity. Even the government has passed several laws to tackle this problem of corruption. For example, the RTI Act, which ensures the transparency, the Black Money in the Regulation Act, the Income Declaration Scheme, and many such things. At last, I will say that this corruption is like a thief who is stealing gold from our Sone ki chiriya, and therefore is refraining us to become the most prosperous country in the world, and therefore we need to control it. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone are present here. Today, I, Krish, of St. Joseph's School, I'm going to express my views on the topic Corruption-Free India for a Developed Nation. Quite few days ago, an old school's teacher, an old man, went to a government office every day because of some sort of files and working. He was every day struggling because his files are proceeding or not. So one day, like this, not one day only, he went to the office and asked to the officer who was sitting over there and asked to him that what happened to my files? They are proceeding or not? Then the officer said, "Arey Master Ji, put some weight on the files. The things are not working now like this nowadays. You have to put some weight." And actually, the weight over here means some money or some sort of bribe. Everyone knows. So he asked to put some weight. And then Master Ji, the old man also decided, now today we should put some weight on these files. And then the officer talked to a female officer and said, see, today Master Ji has agreed to put some weight on the files. So let's go have a dinner tonight. And then the old man took some sort of thing and put on the file and handed over back to the officer. Then the officer said, yes, Master Ji, very nice. Now it's having some weight. I can feel it. Then the old teacher said that I don't know how much weight has increased or not. But the thing I know is that your worth and the load on your shoulders has increased a lot. And then the Master Ji went back. And when the officer opened the file, he saw a 15 to 20 centimeter long iron thin rod tied with our Indian national flag. Friends, this now I guess you all have get to know that what I am trying to say. Corruption is really killing our economy very badly. I can give an solution. Okay, listen. There are billions of people living in our country, and that is too much according to the area. So, and around 200 million houses are there in India, and in every house there are 4 to 5 people living. If every child says to his parents that, okay, my father and mother, now give me a promise that if you don't do corruptions and all, then only I will eat your food, I will use your things which you provide me. And if the parents feel guilty, then they will really, and if they love their children a lot, then they will think about it, that how my child is saying to me and how I can save my country by stopping all these nuisances. Listen friends, this corruption, it cannot be controlled by an individual. It is a joint effort which should be created by the individuals, the media and the government. Everyone should work along to fight this corruption. This corruption is taking all over our many means actually it it is means it is just it is most polluting our backward classes peoples. Mainly the richest peoples are just enjoying by doing corruption things and all. But our backward classes peoples are just suffering because of all these corruption. But the greatest irony is here that the people who are doing their work honestly are earning very meagerly, very less. But the people who are doing corruptions and all are earning in huge amount. So friends, all I want to say is, please, we can control this corruption in our India, and we can make our India a better place to live. Thank you.
Corruption is a global phenomenon. It is omnipresent. It is a major problem in India, which is becoming a hindrance in development of a nation. Wow, greetings to everyone. I am Chavi Verma, a student of class 11 in St. Joseph's School, Greater Noida. I am here to express my views on the topic Corruption-Free India for a Developed Nation. We are very well aware about corruption. Corruption basically means using of powers, property, influence to obtain money or for personal advantages. India has been rocked by many scams so far, like the Vijay Mallya scam, a famous business tycoon in the year 2016. He allegedly took a loan of 9,000 crores from various Indian banks and mainly from Punjab National Bank and then fled to United Kingdom. Another was the Chopper's Gate scam, which is famously known as the Augusta Westland VVIP chopper deal in 2006 and 2007. The main accused of this scam was the UPA government, which was led by Congress at that time. Well, it is quite clear that there is a loophole in our government system. Our officers are after money and trying corrupt practices and adopting ill ways to acquire a lot of money. Well, there are some officials or officers who are very honest and they earn very low, very meagerly. And then there are some officers who adopt ill practices and earn a lot of money. Well, by seeing this, our honest officers sometimes saying that I am being very honest and then earning so low, so I should convert myself, do some corruption, and then I will earn a lot of money. Well, this is not the right way to earn money. A very recent example, the Gujarat bridge collapse. Well, a lot of people lost their lives in that. Around 150 people were dead and many were injured. Why did that happen? Because no proper investigation was conducted after the renovation of the bridge. It was opened to the public just 4 days before Diwali so that it can attract a lot of tourists, which ultimately led to a very tragic accident. Well, it's because after renovation of any public place, it is to be investigated so that we can make sure that everything is properly in place, but that was not the case and it led to an accident. Well, if we talk about another things, corruption is common in Indian citizens as well. They bribe people to get their work done fast, or they reserve seats in many prestigious companies, government colleges and government institutions, which is not a good thing as the talented people and the deserving people lost the chance to prove themselves there. This is leading to unemployment and there are many underemployed people in our country just because they cannot get that seat which was made for them but it was given to a person because of reservations. Another thing is that our India, the officials are after money, they are money-minded and they don't really care about the Indian citizens. At first, they are all like, we will serve you, we will help you, we will give you everything, and then after getting the seat, everything vanished. To stop corruption, we should make laws, very strict laws, and enforcement should be done accordingly. All the corrupt people must be given strict, very merciless punishment so that when a corrupt person sees another corrupt individual getting punished, he should fear from God and will not indulge in any corrupt practices any further? Well, if we try to do that, we will surely reduce corruption in India. Another thing is that our media, it is very strong. It can also play a big role to stop corruption. We can not really stop corruption by just working individually. Until then, we should all strive as one, united in this united struggle for a freedom of different kind. And let's take the first step and let's become corrupt-free ourselves so that we can change this nation. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Good morning, respected everyone. I, Tanish Bana of St. Joseph's School, standing before you to deliver a speech on the topic Corruption-Free India for a better nation. A free India, free from any constraints, a liberal nation, which was the thought of our forefathers. They made sure a nation of corruption-free practices and fairness was ensured to us. Fundamental rights to trade practices, to duties of principals, directive principle of State Council everywhere. It is glued that corruption in any form is evil. And it is not only the government who is to be blamed for such pitiful condition in our nation. It is also us who are to be blamed at first. We, as a nation, have stepped up so many stepping stones since 1947. Today, we stand as fast as the fifth largest economy in the world. Isn't that wonderful? But let's not forget the harsh reality. We still face corrupted practices in administration, lawmaking, and judiciary. From panchayats to the topmost judiciary level. We haven't achieved the nation our forefathers dreamt of. A nation where everyone is treated as equal, without any discrimination, was the nation that was dreamt by our forefathers. Have we achieved that? No. Corruption weakens people. It weakens the economy, which slows down the pace of development. Corruption breeds unemployment. It weakens the constitution and it destroys the faith of people in democracy. It is high time that the people of this nation should consider themselves responsible and say no to corruption. The change begins with the people because we are the leaders of the modern world. It is right time that we get the right mindset and we bring change in the policies, the government and the constitution itself. It's right time that you and me say no to corruption because we can. Corruption is like a snowball. The more it rolls, the bigger it grows. And the results are devastating. It destroys the nation. Say no to corruption for a better nation. Thank you.
The St. Joseph's School, Greater Noida is fortunate enough to join their hands with the Central Vigilance Commission when they have been observing the Vigilance Awareness Week. So we are conducting a speech competition for the senior section group. And for the first contestant is Van Shruta from 12th class. The next participant is Krish from class 11. Now we have Chavi Verma from class 11 for the speech. Now Tanish Bana from class 12 is ready to express his views on the corruption-free India for a developed nation. Thank you, one and all.